Taste the look in black. Pages breathe when you're not there. Turn the key, the shadows talk back. Midnight rings you if you're dead. One more line, one more flight into the weird unknown. It's out tonight, and the rainbows of a Ridgefield lies, lost in forgotten dreams. Sterling's walls of pain and stone call you back where the damned are never alone. Return to Ridgefield, where the echoes creak, secrets in the void. Where the cursed souls weep, 13 floors reborn. Hear the nexus tune. In Sterling's depths you'll seal your doom. To Ridgefield. The nexus calls once more.
The veil thins further in Ridgefield, where the hospital shadow stretches beyond its crumbling walls, ensnaring the town in a web of forgotten sin and silent horror. What was once a bustling mining community, forged in the fires of greed and buried secrets, now decays under eternal fog, streets twisting like veins feeding the nexus below. Buildings whisper accusations, as if it's trapped in loops of their own guilt, and the outer edges blur into nightmarish wastelands where the cursed wander eternally. John Smith, drawn deeper into this labyrinth, faces not just the warped floors of Sterling, but echoes of the town that birthed it, a place where every corner hides a manifestation of threat. Welcome deeper, listeners, to the unraveling. Tonight, we descend into the echoes in the lower depths. The fissure swallowed me whole, spitting me out into what should have been floor 1. Nothing in Sterling followed rules anymore. The corridor stretched infinitely ahead, walls undulating like breathing flesh, coated in a slick layer of condensation that dripped with the acrid scent of rust and regret. Mirrors everywhere, reflecting not just my haggard face, scarred from last year's ordeal, eyes sunken from sleepless nights, but glimpses of Ridgefield's outer fringes bleeding through the glass. I saw it then, clearer than in my drive-in. Town wasn't just a backdrop, empty cells surrounding the hospital like a moat. No, Ridgefield was alive, a festering entity intertwined with Sterling, its history the soil from which the curse had sprouted. As I pressed forward, knife gripped, white-knuckled, my mind flooded with visions. Nexus-induced flashbacks, maybe, or the building's way of tormenting me with context I should have sought before. Ridgefield hadn't always been a ghost of a place. Back in the 1980s or 1880s, it boomed as a mining town, luring fortune seekers with promises of gold veins running deep in the hills. Main Street bustled then, saloons with swinging doors, spilling laughter and piano tunes. The grand clock tower chiming the hours. General stores stocked with picks and dynamite. Families built homes on the outskirts. Neat rows of clapboard houses with picket fences. Churches preaching salvation to the dust-covered workers. But greed dug too deep. Miners hit something in 1892. Not ore, but the nexus. A pulsating void, ancient and hungry, buried under layers of earth that native legends had warned against disturbing. Whispers spread, workers vanishing in the shafts, returning change, eyes glazed with visions of alternate lives. The town elders covered it up, building skeleton prison over the site to contain the afflicted, thieves, madmen, and those touched by the entities, chaining them in cells that echoed with screams across reality. By 1905, the riot erupted. Not just prisoners breaking free, but the nexus fracturing wide. Entities slithered out, warping the town. Fog rolled in perpetual, thick as soup, muting colors to grays and browns. Streets twisted overnight, alleys looping back on themselves, trapping wanderers in endless walks. The outer areas suffered worse. The mine shafts on the edges caved in, birthing sinkholes that swallowed whole neighborhoods, spitting out abomination. Twisted figures, half human, half shadow, lurking in the mist. Residents who didn't flee became echoes, reliving their sins, miner eternally digging his own grave, the saloon owner pouring drinks for ghostly patrons, a preacher sermonizing to empty pews as the church walls bled. Silent Hill? Hell. Ridgefield made that look like a postcard. The hospital rose in the 1920s as a final bandage, sterling for the silver once mined, but it only amplified the curse. 13 floors of conduit for the bleed. Kate's ancestor, Warden Myers, knew he documented it all, stealing what he could, but his bloodline paid the price. Shaking off the vision, I stumbled into a wider chamber. Once a waiting room, now a nexus warped mockery. Vines of phobia made flesh snake from the ceilings, coiling like serpents born from my fears. Claustrophobia hit first, walls inching closer, air thickening until each breath was a labor. Then the arachnids, swarms erupting from cracks, not spiders, but manifestations. Eight-legged horrors with human faces screaming silent accusation. You left us, they hissed in my mind, faces morphing into bandmates and a Kate. I swung my silver-strung bass like a club, the notes resonating oddly, disrupting their forms into wisps. But the real terror was the bleed from the town. Through shattered windows they shouldn't exist on the lower floor, I glimpsed Ridgefield's streets, intruding, fog-shrouded Main Street visible, a warped clock tower ticking backward, shadowy figures shambling past, their forms glitching like bad signals. Panting, I pressed on, corridors forking into mazes that echoed the town's twisted alleys. My phone buzzed. Signal jammed, somehow piercing the depths. Mike, my bandmate, voice frantic. John, you there? The archives. It's worse than we thought. Ridgefield's not isolated, the curse is seeping out. Reports from nearby towns, fog rolling in, people vanishing on the roads, and your location? Satellite shows anomalies, like the hills pulsing. I gripped the phone tighter. What about the outer areas, the mines? His reply cracked. Abandoned since the rot. Locals say the edges are no man's land. Sinkholes leading to underground networks, connecting to the prison. Entities roam there, drawn to guilt. Watch for the line cut, static warping into laughter. Great. The town wasn't surrounding the hospital, it was a part of it. A sprawling prison of fog and regret. Its outer fringes a buffer zone where the nexus tested intruders. Deeper into floor 2, the phobias escalated. Blood-dripping ceilings now mixed with town runoff, rain from outside seeping through, but crimson and viscous, pooling into shapes of drowned miners. A ghost materialized ahead, a girl on a gurney from the original haunts, but warped. Her form flickering between child and entity, tendrils extending like mine shafts. "Help me," she wheezed, voice echoing with the town's bells. I hesitated. Mercy or strike? Before I could decide, footsteps approached from a side corridor. Not shambling, but purposeful. A figure emerged. Woman, mid-30s, trench coat tattered, flashlight in one hand, notebook in the other. "You John Smith? Musician from the stories?" Her voice was sharp, skeptical, eyes scanning me like a cop. "Emma Reyes," she introduced herself, an investigator drawn by the spreading anomalies, chasing leads on disappearances tied to Ridgefield's history. "I've been mapping the outer town," she said, holstering a pistol. "The fog hides portals, alleys leading straight into these floors. You're not the only one pulled back." We allied uneasily, her skepticism a counter to my haunted resolve. "The town's a manifestation," she explained, as we moved to floor 3, lines parting reluctantly. Post-riot, it became a psychological trap. Outer farms? Overgrown with crops that scream when harvested. The old school on the edge, kids' laughter turned to cries at night. And the mines? Gateways to the depths. Myers' journals mentioning echoes, alternate versions of the town bleeding in. As if on cue, a chase erupted. Prisoner ghosts, chains rattling, forms mutated with town elements. One with fog for limbs, another with street lamp eyes glaring. We ran through looping stairs, realities warping to mimic Ridgefield's alleys. Sudden dead ends with shop windows reflecting our fears. Emma fired shots that phased through, while my bass hummed disruptively. "The Nexus feeds on us," she yelled. "Choices here affect the town above." We burst into a chamber overlooking a rift. Depths yawning below. Prison echoes rising. But through a Nexus glitch, I saw the outer town convulsing. Sinkholes widening. Fog thickening. Residents? Echoes? Or real? Fleeing towards the hill. Curse was spreading. Ridgefield's silent horrors awakening fully. This isn't just a building, John. Ridgefield's outer layers are crumbling. The mines are calling entities up, warping their farms into labyrinths. I've seen it. Families trapped in their homes, reliving the riot night after night. If we don't seal the lower floors, the whole town becomes a prison. Allies or not, your choice is here, they ripple out. She was right. As we stared into the depths, the pull intensified, redemption below, but tied to the town's fate. "Then let's map it," I said, clutching the warden's journal. "For Kate, for the echoes out there." The ground shook, a door to the prison creaking open like an invitation. The shadows stirred, more threats, or the next ally. Ridgefield's silent hell was just beginning to scream. John and his newfound skeptic danced deeper into the maw. But Ridgefield's Foggy embrace tightens, its outer horrors bleeding into the heart of Sterling like ink in water. What mutated secrets lurk in the mid-floors ahead? What alliances will fracture under the weight of the town's silent screams? And how will the Nexus twist their paths when the depths demand more? Tune in next for the forging of fragile bonds, if you can navigate the echoes in the lower depths. And just on a side note, folks, keep tuned in, like, subscribe, and comment for the new animated series in 2026. Agent Special X. The Torture